are joining from across different places around the globe. Great to see a global audience on this platform today.
Nice. Yeah.
David, I think we'll wait for a minute or so before we get started. It's almost there. Probably another 30 odd seconds, and then we can start. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
perfect. All right. I think we can get started. Yes, David, all set.
All set from my end. I'm excited.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So, welcome everyone. We are excited here today to talk about how to build and nurture talent pipeline on Autopilot with AI. And with us, we have here a very special guest, David from Juicebox. He leads the team and is at the CEO at Juicebox and has encountered pretty much a lot of use cases with respect to our topic today. David, would you like to say a quick hi?
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for having me, Drew. I'm David, co-founder of Juicebox. We're an AI recruiting platform. So we help our customers find, assess, and engage talent. Very much in that grouping of sourcing talent and trying to do so with AI as much as possible. We've been around for just over 2 years and now work with over 2,000 teams globally.
Wow, wow, that's massive. Thank you, David. Hi, this is Dhruv here. I lead the sales function at Recruiterflow and super excited to be hosting today's event. As part of our agenda, we are going to spend the first few minutes in terms of talking about the challenges and the solutions that AI brings on the table to help address those. Followed by, we are going to show you Juicebox as well as Recruiterflow live in action and how they can help you on a day-to-day basis to improve your recruitment agencies, processes, and revenue generating activities, right? We would like to park last a few minutes to address any questions that you might have for either David or me, and would be happy to take that. Having said that, if you have any questions as part of the conversations as well as the demo that we have, feel free to type it out in the Q&A section and we'll be happy to take it up. Okay, then all right, then David, let's get started. I wanted to start this session from the point of that you being in this space for a while now, right? And you have been talking to a lot of customers and industry experts in this space. What are some of the top challenges, David, that you see day in and day out with them?
For sure. So I think the biggest challenges we see, especially when kind of trying to reach that goal of always having new candidates in the pipeline and making that
Mhm.
pipeline almost be autonomous is really two different things. The first one is capacity to invest time into sourcing. And so often
Yeah.
that's a time constraint. And so, sourcing is always there. It's always a necessity, but it's also the easiest thing where if something else comes up that's urgent, we can deprioritize that for a moment and kind of deal with the hiring manager conversation or live candidate interview that we have to take. And so sourcing, we know the importance of it, but we also see the flexibility in it and that it can be moved around. And that's probably just a necessary part of being in the recruiting business. At the same time, it
Yep.
makes it really hard to keep those candidate pipelines running and making sure that it's consistent stream, because the customers where we see the most success in building those sourcing pipelines, they do have that be an explicit part of their schedule and something that kind of they put time into very consciously. If I can add one more thing to that, and I think they go hand in hand, is the data silos that exist as well.
Yeah.
We want to do sourcing, we want to find new candidates, but our actual workflow just becomes a lot slower because we have to look through like 3, 4, even 5 different data sources at once. That can mean
Yeah.
the actual place we source, be that a LinkedIn, be that a Indeed or similar, but also our own ATS, our email data, past interactions we've had with the candidate and more. And because all that data lives in different places, it really slows down that sourcing process. We have to double check before we can add someone into a campaign. We can't easily re-engage them and more. And so that kind of isolation of data is what we've seen be the second biggest pain point.
That makes sense. And again, from a sourcing standpoint, like you said, right, that's very critical in this business because that's the first step, right? And many a times when I talk with these customers, probably every other customer that I talk to, the number one point that they are trying to solve for is reduce the time to source, because that metric is super important for them to reduce time to submission, time to placements and more. So of course, that's the first critical step, like you rightly pointed out. And of course, data silos make sense because of course, technology could be a great enabler, but if not used well, it could also be a great inhibitor. So that makes sense. But David, one more thing, right? From an AI perspective, we look at what happens is um, AI could be a great enabler for sure, but more often than not, we see that uh, 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 people, the different businesses are trying to get to that level, right? In terms of how they can leverage AI. And one of the top things that constantly we see is people want to make sure that they focus their time on two most critical things: conversations and decision making, right? And that's where the human comes in. And that's the most human centric thing that goes as part of this process, which cannot be replaced. While they are spending tons of times on a lot of admin task, manual workload, and more, which can be a lot more optimized with AI, right? David, in your experience, how do you see tackling these challenges with the help of AI?
Yeah, for sure. So the way I think about both the space, but also where our opportunity lies from a product perspective. And I think that's actually very similar from the ATS perspective as well. Two approaches. One is we
Hmm.
increase the efficiency of an existing workflow. So we make
Yeah,
it easier to, in our case, source talent. So how fast can we
yeah,
help find the right talent? And that is for features like AI assistance. Like I almost think of it as like the Iron Man suit for recruiters. How many things can we help them be faster at and alleviate that burden, and that can be evaluating a profile, that can be really easily getting their contact info, seeing all the data, etc. And
yeah,
then the second part is the more agentic component, and like agents have become a big buzzword, but what it really means behind the scenes is a more of an automation that's able to
right.
go out, in our case, source profiles, but then also check against those data silos, see what other information is out there, and do that process on its own. And so at that point, it's almost acting like a team member for us, where
Right.
we can go and solve those problems autonomously. And so to recap, I think that's where like from our perspective, two of the biggest opportunities lie. One, increasing efficiency, and then two, having agents operate autonomously, so they're almost like an additional member of the team. I'd be
Right.
super curious how you see that on your end.
Yeah, absolutely. This makes a lot of sense, right? And I believe AI can be used to automate a lot of these things, but it's not just any other automation that we know of. AI helps in using a lot of contextual information to automate these things, which is relevant for you and your business. Right? So that is super important and critical. What I would like to do next, David, here is from a sourcing and nurturing standpoint, let's give our audience a sneak peek into our to show really them how this would work in Juicebox and Recruiterflow. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. So let's get your, maybe you can share your screen and we can get started with the demo.
Is that screen sharing all right?
Yes, yes, I can see that.
Perfect. So kind of going along a similar line of what I described verbally, I think there's two different things that we can take a closer look at. One is the AI assisted search, and then the second is the fully agentic search. And as you mentioned, how that can take into account the context of each recruiter as well.
Before we go ahead, David, just wanted to tell the larger audience here, audience, you are going to see a lot of interesting stuff here going forward from this point in. Feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll be happy to answer them and take it for you. Alrighty, David, let's go.
Let's do it. So I'm going to start off with an example search. So let's say we're doing like a ML engineer located in New York City, say 5+ years experience. I'll say
Hmm.
experience at a fast growing startup, let's say C
Wow.
through Series C. And we'll say, let's just start off with that. So with that, we're going to get a initial search. Juicebox puts together a few different filters for us, and we can
Hmm.
go and edit those if we need to, or if we have some initial trust in them, we can click run search and start seeing an initial list of profiles. And so we'll here
Wow.
see the list of profiles as well as some of the different data sources for them. One, the different sources we can source from, like LinkedIn, email, phone numbers, and more. But then two, if this profile already exists in Recruiterflow, we'll get a Recruiterflow icon here as well, showing
Hmm.
us that that profile has already been one that we've exported previously. Within each
Perfect.
profile, we can kind of do the more traditional profile review. And so we try to still make that as easy as possible with some highlights, as well as the profile details below, and consolidating those different data sources. And so if we switch down to the technical section, we'll see some of the details from Stack Overflow, GitHub, and more. Now, where
Hmm.
the Juicebox search gets most powerful is if we head over to this autopilot at the top. And here's where we can take that criteria-based assessment approach. And so it already suggested a few: experience deploying ML models to production, proficient with TensorFlow. And then, to switch it up a little bit, since we're in the recruiting space, I'll say experience in recruiting tech. And to broaden it
Hmm.
up a little bit, I'll say or HR tech or similar. And so I'll make
Wow.
an additional criteria for us.
So basically, you're typing all these criteria in natural language, and then Juicebox takes over in terms of identifying those perfect candidate profiles for you.
That's
Right?
exactly right. So our goal is to really mirror what we've seen our users do in the platform, where, they set the initial filters, but the filters are actually not enough to really get the right target list. And so instead,
Mm-hmm.
we still have to go in and kind of what we do by viewing each profile is assessing them. And so instead, Autopilot assesses them for you and starts running this assessment and gives a justification for each profile. And so that's what we have here, all in natural language of, say, for example, for Tong Liu, why they could be a good fit based on their experience building ETL platforms, having built a recruiting platform in the past or an HR tech platform, as well as some of their other skills.
This is mind-boggling, David, because again, it helps to reduce a lot of manual task and effort, right? As from a human standpoint, you need all of these things, but just to get to there, it will take tons of time, probably weeks. But this is amazing to see that that AI can do it for us.
Yeah, I think it's also like it's very tangible, right? Because we know like this list of 500 profiles would have taken us a long time to go through. But then most importantly, the workflow doesn't end here. So we can now take those profiles, either put them into an email sequence, or for this example, I'm just going to export them over to Recruiterflow. And so what
Mhm.
we'll do here is save that profile data. It'll automatically deduplicate anyone who already exists. And if I now head over to my Recruiterflow platform, we'll see those three profiles appear at the top here.
Wow.
So Kyati Patel, who we just exported, and we could even export any additional profiles. And so we'll see that profile data come in here, and then we have, again, kind of solved that data silo component, keeping everything in one place and making sure we have the data where we need it to be.
Wow, this looks very promising, David.
Awesome. Then one more thing, if we still have a little bit of time, is our insights. So we, while we're searching, we want to make sure we increase efficiency, but also that we have the data behind us to make sure we're making
Mhm.
the right decisions. And so we'll see some data points in terms of the geographic distribution around New York,
Yeah.
some additional details in terms of years of experience, top employers, past employers, and more. And so as we scroll through these, we can actually use these to source as well. For example, by clicking into the different fields, let's say I want to see everyone who went to Cornell. We can just click that row. It'll show us a pop-up highlighting those profiles in particular, and we could easily save them from here as well.
Got it.
So really quick walkthrough there of the search part of the Juicebox platform and how we can use that to quickly build high quality talent pipelines. Um, this is like what we consider our AI assisted component. We also have that
Mhm.
fully autonomous agent part, but I'm not sure where we are on time, if you want me to pause there or if you'd still like me to cover the agent as well.
So probably we can take another minute or so. We can complete that AI agent piece as well. I think the audience would be
Cool.
super excited to see it.
Awesome. I am too. So let's do that. I'm going to now hop over and create an agent. I'll create a new one here, and I'm going to use a similar search. Let's say ML engineer, but instead we're going to do it in San Francisco. The way to think about the agent is some parts of it are going to be similar to the search. So we could even do a same search setup, ML engineer located in San Francisco. Whoops. 5+ years experience at a fast growing startup. And what the agent does now for us, rather than showing us the search strategy, is it's actually going to come up with different search strategies itself, use
Mhm.
those to find an initial list of profiles, and then present those to us in a thumbs up, thumbs down scenario. And so we'll give it
Wow.
a few seconds. It's going to start showing us an initial set of profiles for review. And then we can give it feedback by approving profiles or rejecting them. So let's take a look at some
Mhm.
of the initial profiles it found. For example, Lawrence Wang, Senior ML Engineer at Pinterest. And we'll see that justification of why the agent matched this profile. So similar to the
Wow.
autopilot, but more autonomous. And so we can take a look at some of the profile highlights on the left, the
Mhm.
justification in the middle, and then we can approve. Or if there's profiles that we want to reject, let's say I don't want anyone who went to Stanford as an example, we can give that as a reason. Click submit, and the agent is now going to take that information into account, autonomously update, and show us some new suggested matches for our search. It'll keep doing that until we've approved a number of profiles in a row. From there, we can then choose to reach out to those profiles, be that by email or by building a shortlist. Let's just
Wow.
do that in a quick example. I'm just going to approve these 3 profiles. So let's say they all seem like a good fit. We'll notice we added
Mhm.
that criteria of should not have attended Stanford.
Right.
And we can now choose which email sequence we want to use. So I'm just going to create a shortlist instead for now. And we can choose how many profiles it's going to find for us every single day. So let's say we
Wow.
want to do 25 a day. And finally, we can then shortlist them automatically or still give them a final individual review. With that, we'll click Start Sourcing. We'll get some confetti, and now the agent is going to work for us in the background. Because this takes a few
Amazing.
minutes, I'm just going to hop over. I already made an agent named after James Bond over here. We can take a quick look into, and we'll see some of the profiles that it pulled for us. So as the agent does its work, it'll send you an email telling those profiles are ready for review. And you can hop in here to give it a final approval or reject
Mhm.
profiles based on whether they're a fit or not. This keeps on working for you, so you don't have to open up Juicebox. It's just going to start finding new profiles for you every day, even reaching out to them for you every single day if you choose to switch to that autonomous mode. So yeah, to recap, we did the regular search where we used the AI assisted features, and then we also did
Mhm.
the fully autonomous Juicebox agent, which kind of finds those profiles for us every single day without us needing to add any additional configuration.
Wow. Thank you so much, David. This sounds like a perfect partnership between AI and the humans, right? Wherein we jointly do work towards one common goal. This is super, super helpful. Thanks, David. So you talked about the sourcing, and I will spend the next few minutes in terms of how do we nurture once the sourcing is done, right? Let me know as soon as you can see my screen. All right. So one of the things, right, what I want to showcase the audience here is once the sourcing is done, one of the most major challenges that I face and I see with our customers is even while they have a database with them into their ATS system, they would still go back to LinkedIn to start their initial scratch search. Right? They start from zero without knowing that their database is very good to begin their sourcing efforts. And this primarily happens for two main reasons. First of all, the database is not up to date as per their internal conversations that they would have with the candidates or clients, and it is not up to date from an external data standpoint as well. Now, what do I mean here? What you're able to see, David, is my screen visible?
Yep, it's sharing nicely.
Perfect. So here we have about 9,000 odd candidates into the ATS system, and the whole challenge is about to keep these data up to date. So now, for example, let's say with a particular candidate, David, I pulled in your profile here, which is showing up, right? As soon as I look at any candidate, Recruiterflow will capture all your notes, conversations in form of emails, text, even calls, so to say, and bring it up here, right into your ATS system. I'll pull up another profile which is more filled in with more data just to give a visual understanding of what I mean here, right? So, for example, all the calls that we have had with Naresh will pop up here, and you can get a lot of intelligence because now it becomes your single source of truth from so much of unstructured data. What I wanted to introduce here is Ira. Ira is, imagine Ira as your AI twin who will work alongside yourself, just like a snippet what David showed, to achieve certain goals and tasks. For example, you can ask Ira to generate a candidate summary, right? Or you can also ask Ira that, hey, what was the compensation plan discussed with Naresh? It will go through all of your different data sources, including emails, phone calls, texts, and give you a precise answer as to the details that you want to find out on this particular profile. Now, of course, this is unstructured data and has contextual information. But as the business owners, as the recruiters, you also want to make sure you are maintaining all the fields in structured format. As you can see here, under this profile, we have custom fields. And as of now, there are no custom fields defined here. Because again, our recruiters may not get sufficient time to update this. No problem. All you need to do is you need to go back and just ask Ira to suggest field updates. It will go through all of your conversational history, be it emails, LinkedIn messages as well, texts, calls, meetings, and automatically identify the fields that are relevant and that needs to be updated. So as you can see here, team, it says that expected comp is $0.22 million, current comp, seniority, birth date, open to work, and you can customize and you define these fields as per your business requirements. All you need to do is just accept these field updates. And as soon as I hit the refresh button, boom, we have these custom fields auto updated for you. So now imagine the bliss wherein you just focus on having those conversations with your clients and candidates while Recruiterflow does all the heavy lifting for you. So that's up from a standpoint of making sure your database is up to date based on all the internal conversations that you have. But what about the external updates? For example, what if a candidate has changed jobs, right, in the last few weeks or few months or whatever, right? So as you grow as a company, you might have tens and thousands of candidates into your ATS system. So that's where our job change alerts come in very handy, wherein it will work on your behalf on the background to get these job change alerts for you. And it can work for both your candidates as well as your clients, right? And this is something that a job change alerts, the IRA does on background for you. And many of our customers are also using as business development opportunity. Because as soon as a person changes those jobs, it gives you an opening to have more conversations there for a possible business. All you need to do is go through this, review it, and you can either accept or reject the changes. So that's our second AI agent for today for the larger audience. The third one that I would like to quickly touch upon is, let's say once you have all your candidates in place, right? Using IRA and the job change alerts, now you have your database up to date so that you can hit the market, hit the ground up and running to get towards fulfilling those placements. One of the things that I wanted to show here specifically is, let's say you have multiple jobs coming in and you want to make sure and get to speed in terms of identifying those candidates right from your ATS system. All you need to do is find your job and hit on AI matches. So what happens in the background is IRA finds these candidates relevant for your job and gives you the suggestions, right? This is like the first list that you have. And of course, you can go ahead and add more filters and fine tune your first list from here. Of course, you can do tons of different filters from jobs standpoint, text search, Boolean search. And not just that, it can also find through your CVs, your emails, and all of those structured data. So that's the third agent for you today. And I think we are almost on time. I'll just take not more than 30 seconds here. Let's say once you find your ideal profile here, right? Let's say Nicholas over here. And I want to pitch Nicholas to a particular client. All I need to do is click on submit to client. Now, what happens is, in an ideal world, you would want to go through Nicholas's profile. You want to go through the job and whom you are pitching to. But instead, you can just click on submission agent over here. What it will do is it will marry all the relevant information and automatically create an email for you, which you can send at a click of a button. So here it is, right? The clients are, let's say, Rohit and Divij, and automatically it has created this email based on that candidate's profile and the job description and has created this email for you. So that's our fourth agent for today. That's about it from a demo standpoint. The four agents that I want you to take away is, number one, IRA, which helps you encode all the data, which is in unstructured format to structured format. Number two, the job change alerts. Number three, the AI candidate matching. And last, the submission agents. We have just got started with the agents and we have tons of more agents coming in the near future. So that's from my side from a demo standpoint. Also, for the larger audience here, all of you can sign up for a free trial with both Juicebox and Recruiterflow, get a hands-on experience on them. And of course, we are here if you have any questions. You can also reach out on our respective websites and we'll be happy to take the conversation forward. Thank you everyone for joining in. It was super helpful and exciting. Yeah, both David and I'll be available should you have any questions. Have a great day ahead.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.